first of all, big body and plays extremely hard. With Christian and what we've asked of him, some because of Jackson's injury, but we have to sort of manage his days. And Trey gives us another body, another physical player. We kind of went away from those two big lineups. It's something we did last night. It's something we're going to try to get back to for small stretches of games. It doesn't mean we won't play small ever, but that's something I think where we can get some practice time. We can really work on those small ball looks. So for Trey, I think he's going to have an opportunity at times to be out there with AD. He's going to have an opportunity at times to play solo big, depending on who's available. Obviously, Jackson's our backup center. Not saying he's going to play over Jackson, but getting him in the program was important for us, and we obviously did intel on him. He's high character, high energy, smart player too, high basketball IQ. Super humble. We're excited to have him.
Following the Lakers' signing of a new center, Trey Jameson III, on a two-way contract, they have waived Quincy Olivar, likely their most popular two-way player among fans, which has become somewhat controversial. This move could suggest a shift in their center rotation. While it's not certain whether Trey Jameson will immediately surpass Christian Kolololun or Jackson Hayes, it does indicate they are trying something new. J.J. Ray confirmed today that they have been experimenting more with two big lineups, featuring Anthony Davis and another big player, and they plan to use this strategy more in the future. He commented that Trey adds another physical presence alongside Christian, particularly with Jackson's injury requiring careful management. They have somewhat stepped away from using two big lineups, but they are looking to reintroduce them, especially in stretches of games. While small ball will still be utilized, they believe that with practice time, they can refine these two big looks. For Trey, this means he will have opportunities to play alongside AD as well as moments to play as the sole big. Depending on availability, Jackson serves as our backup center. While there's no implication that he will play over Jackson, getting him into the program has been crucial for us. We certainly conducted thorough research on him. He is a high character, high energy, and intelligent player with a strong basketball IQ. His humility is commendable, and we're thrilled to add him to our team. Over the past month and a half, they have shifted away from utilizing two big lineups, even one big lineup, opting for a smaller ball approach, deploying Rui Hachimura and LeBron at the 5 and using Anthony Davis exclusively at the 5 for one of their centers. However, this strategy may change with the signing of a new big man, as all three of their two-way contracts are frontcourt players, indicating a focus on bolstering their frontcourt. This raises the question of whether they might trade for another frontcourt player, potentially a center. While it's uncertain, I believe the chances have improved. With the Phoenix Suns recently trading for center Nick Richards, a player they were linked to, it's plausible they might pursue a similar deal. Given that Nick Richards is off the market, the center market is contracting, particularly for the players they have been associated with. One of the few players remaining on the trade market who has been directly linked to their team by various sources is Nikola Vucevic, a former All-Star. Although he is now 34 years old, he is enjoying a strong resurgence this season. Reports connecting him to their team have emerged from several outlets, including Evan Cid of Forbes, who noted that the Lakers and Warriors are seen as the top contenders for Vucevic. Additionally, Brett Siegel of Clutch Points mentioned that the Lakers, Warriors, Pelicans, and Pistons are all expressing interest in him. As for what it would take to acquire him, it might only require a couple of second-round draft picks, according to Jake Fisher. Given this, should he be a prime target for their team? They would need to consider what they must give up to obtain him, or if not pursuing a trade for Vucevic, what other floor spacing centers like him might be ideal trade targets. In today's video, we will discuss this, focusing particularly on Vucevic and a few other potential options. Starting with Vucevic, despite being 34, he is having a fantastic year, averaging 20 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists per game, while shooting 55% 6% from the field, a career high, along with 42.2% from three, another career high, making it a very productive season for him, despite playing for a team that seems to be directionless. They likely wish to part ways with him and acquire draft picks in return, and while that stat line certainly makes him appealing not just for their squad but for several others, we must recognize the risks involved. As I noted earlier, he's now 34 years old, and it's probably only going to decline from here, most likely not improve. This could truly be a one-time standout year for him. Don't misunderstand, it's impressive. Averaging 20 points and 10 rebounds with 40% shooting from three is unquestionably valuable. However, it may once again be a one-time scenario. Before this season, he had not exceeded 40%, much less 35% from beyond the arc since the 2018-2019 season, which essentially talking about a rental in Yao Switch, a player who is certainly on the decline and will continue to do so after this season. They clearly have a limited time frame with him, accompanied by significant risks, including not just his decline but also the potential for him to be a poor fit. If his three-point shooting were to drop, it could create issues defensively and offensively, reflecting poorly on the team and likely resulting in an unpopular trade. We've seen numerous instances of players who excel on other teams come to ours and struggle, particularly with three-point shooting. For instance, after joining the team, Mick Beasley's three-point shooting dipped to around 35%. While that's not disastrous, it's not lavish. And likely the same scenario could unfold again. I'm not asserting it would occur or hoping it wouldn't, yet it is certainly a possibility. If he combines poor defense with subpar three-point shooting, what can he really provide to the team? At that juncture, pairing him with Anthony Davis becomes difficult because Davis can only mask so many defensive deficiencies, and if his supporting teammates are not reliable defenders, he lacks the attributes of a solid rim protector or a versatile defensive option. So what options are left for him? This situation represents a worst-case scenario, not to say it will definitely happen, but there are certainly risks involved. Even if he performs well this season, his role would be entirely different on their roster, and his usage rate would diminish significantly by becoming more of an off-ball player as opposed to an on-ball player, likely receiving about half the touches and shot attempts compared to his time in Chicago, which may not bode well for him and consequently negatively impact his rate, coupled with strong rebounding, solid post play, decent passing, and essentially being the player he has largely been for the past decade. I believe it might be feasible, but considering the compensation for trading Ruby Haima with minimal contracts or a couple, it wouldn't be my top preference for a center trade and probably not one I'd choose if I had the option, which I clearly don't. However, it likely wouldn't be my preferred trade, nor the one I'd pursue, as I think I'd aim for a more economical choice. There could be a player comparable to Anthony Davis that wouldn't require a significant trade cost and may be more worthwhile without the associated risks. So, who might that player be, or what type of player would entail less risk compared to Nikola Vucevic? Take Kelly Olynyk, for instance, not a superstar or racking up the impressive stats like Vucevic, but he would come with a lower price and fit a similar role on their roster. Just like Vucevic, he's a big who stretches the floor with three-point shooting, actually hitting 44.4% compared to Vucevic's 42%. While he doesn't average nearly the points Vucevic does, around a third of what he scores, and plays about half the minutes per game. 2. But in terms of three-point shooting, he is actually a more dependable floor spacer, with a 37% career three-point shooting percentage compared to Vic's 34.7%. Both are effective passing big men, and Kelly Olynyk is averaging about 2.2 assists per game this season in roughly 15 minutes of play. He is a solid rebounder and, at best, an average defender. However, similar to Nikola Vucevic, there isn't a huge difference. In fact, Kelly's defensive box plus-minus rating is significantly better than Vic's. He has a +7 defensive box plus-minus rating, while Vucevic has a 0.8 rating at the time of this video. However, I'm not claiming that Hink is decisively the superior player or defender, but I believe he could fulfill a comparable role for their team. They would also have the opportunity to acquire him for significantly less via trade without having to deal Ruach Chimera if that's a concern for them or any of you. They could instead trade Gabe Vincent, which many fans are inclined to see happen, so I'm sure they would be amenable to that. Trading Gabe Vincent, likely with a minimum contract and possibly 1 or 2 second-round draft picks alongside him, could facilitate that trade for Kelly Ock. If Kelly Ock doesn't pan out, another potential candidate I'd suggest is Isaiah Stewart, who is currently with the Detroit Pistons, playing regular minutes and reportedly on the trade block. Perhaps it could be a possibility for them, even if they're having a down year in three-point shooting at 24.2%. Last season, however, he shot 38.3% on approximately 4 attempts per game and about 33% on 4.1 attempts per game the prior year. He has demonstrated the capability to be a fairly consistent three-point shooter in a more substantial role than what he currently holds. Regarding his defense, he is a significantly better defender than Kelly Oubre or Nikola Vucevic, and indeed, he offers better rim protection as well. While some may find it hard to accept that height is not the sole indicator of good defense or rim protection, I can assure you that Isaiah Stewart excels compared to them in both overall defense and rim protection. He averages 1.3 blocks per game, or about 2.5 blocks per 36 minutes, showcasing solid defense, excellent switchable defense, and tenacious defense around the rim. He plays with great physicality and would undoubtedly be an upgrade over those two in this aspect. Yet again, this would involve a trade, though it wouldn't necessitate dealing Rui Hachimura. Options available among Duke Reith, Isaiah Stewart, Nikola Vucevic, and Kelly Olynyk. Again, trading for Nikola Vucevic isn't strictly necessary. While he wouldn't be a terrible choice, the cost to acquire him, his aging status, and the potential decline might present risks. I wouldn't dislike the trade, but he isn't my top overall trade target either, even though we are discussing a three-point shooting big. I'm not implying that they must trade for a stretch 5 type big man, but having one could indeed help the team, and I suspect they are considering it. I believe Coach Rick would prefer that, as it would ease his efforts in crafting 2 big lineups. It would certainly simplify things if they could reacquire Christian Wood, but that's not guaranteed, meaning they might need to explore options through a trade. What Christian would think or anyone else currently on their team, and with that in mind, how do you all feel about a trade for Nico Fit or any other center, or someone who is a floor spacing big like I illustrated in this video? Share your opinions in the comments below. I think that will wrap it up for this one, and if you liked the video, I would really appreciate it if you could give a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and hit that notification bell so you never miss when I post a video. As always, thanks for watching, and have a fantastic day.